I'm John Holland, the Public Information Officer for the Oshkosh Fire Department. What we're going to talk about today is how to properly use and install child safety seats and what happens beyond that when they are old enough to get out of that seat. So first of all, I want to go through what the Wisconsin law is for car seats. I'm going to have to read these because these are the bare minimum. Safe Kids has recommendations that are much better, much safer. But just so you know, here is the law. All right, it says children must be in a car seat until they reach 4 years old and 40 pounds, and in a booster seat until they reach 8 and 80 pounds, or more than 4 foot 9 inches tall. So they should be in a seat of some sort up until they are 8 years old and 4 foot 9. Now, what car seat at what level? State of Wisconsin again says less than 1 year old and less than 20 pounds, they need to be in a rear facing seat like this one. Most seats these days go up higher than 20 pounds for rear facing. In fact, Safe Kids, their recommendation is at least 2 years old or whatever it says on the car seat. And the car seats will say height and weight requirements on it. So the law is 1 year, 20 pounds, but it's much safer to go 2 years and however many pounds the car seat says. All right, once they're 1 year old and 20 pounds, according to the state of Wisconsin, they need to be in either a rear facing or forward facing seat, and we'll show you that, and should be in the back seat of the vehicle. All of these should be in the back seat of the vehicle. And then again, the law, 4 to 8 years old, between 40 and 80 pounds, they need to be in a booster. And after that, then they can supposedly sit in the car. Again, that has changed. They have gotten better, safer. The longer you keep that child in the car seat, the safer they are. Childhood injuries, #1 cause of death for children is car accidents. If you use a properly installed car seat that is hooked on, the child is hooked in correctly, you reduce the risk of injury by 80%. That is huge. So this is important. We do car seat inspections where you can come on in, we can make sure you're using them correctly, installing them correctly. When it's time to switch to another seat, we can help you with that as well. Very first thing you have to do is put the child in there correctly. So what you do is you put the child in the seat, put the straps over the shoulder, and then you buckle this in, and then you buckle this, and then you get it tight. So for this seat, to tighten it up, you just pull here. Okay, you want to make sure the straps are not twisted. You tighten it up until you can't grab any of this strap. You shouldn't be able to pinch anything, okay? You should just be spinning your wheels here like this. If you can grab some, not by cheating like I just did, but if you can grab some, snug it up. Breathing is good. You don't want to get it too tight. And then the retainer clip here, this just slides up and down. Once it's tight, you want it right at armpit level, right there. When it's a rear facing seat, you want the straps, I'll show you here. You want the straps at or below the baby's shoulders. And you can see there's different levels of where to put them. To change it, it is really simple. You disconnect the straps here and you rethread them. Every car seat is a little bit different. So what I'm showing you today, you might have a little different car seat. If you do have any questions, you can certainly call me and be happy to help you out. So the baby is in there safe. Now we have to get the car seat in there. So the first thing we have to do is get the base in. When you put in the car seat base, what you're worried about is the angle of the seat. Okay, you want to make sure that this is level like this. And it actually, on the seat itself, this one actually has a little level. And you can see if it's in the right spot. Okay, so if you need to change it, if you see how the seat sometimes takes a little dive down here, you might have to tip the car seat. So to do that, on this seat, and most seats have this now, there's these two little buttons. If you look right here, when I push these buttons, that comes down. And then we can adjust the angle for how it fits in this vehicle. So this one doesn't have much of a tip. I forgot to show you. This is called the Latch System. It is on the cars. Excuse me, this is the Latch System. It is on the car seat itself. If you use this, you don't use the seat belt. It's supposed to be easier, and sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Okay, they hook right into, there's little brackets right in the crack of the seat here, and you can't see them too well, but you can see these little dots. And what that's for, that marks where that bracket is in there. So you just, for this seat, you take this bracket and you find that, sometimes easier said than done. You can hear it when it clicks correctly. All right, so now they're both clicked in. Then you gotta get it tight. So to get this one tight, you just pull right here. And you want it tight enough so you don't get an inch of wiggle side to side or back and forth. Okay, now remember we talked about the angle. If you look here, the angle is really good. It's right where it should be. All right. So now we're gonna put the seat in the base. If this were with a real baby or whatever, I couldn't put it here, and I'll show you why. When I go to put the baby in the seat, it doesn't fit with the seat there. So we're just gonna get rid of that. Maybe. Didn't think about that one, boys. All right, so now I move the seat up. It's way up, and we'll talk about that in a little bit too. Then you click it in, and again, you make sure it clicks. Okay, that car seat should be right into the base. Baby is in there, baby looks good. The reason we're worried about that angle, going back to that, is if that angle is incorrect, if it's up here like this, baby's head will just flop forward and cut off the airway. Especially the very young ones, they have no head and neck control. So that one is incorrectly, all right? Then to get it out, put a little lever on the back of the car seat. I'll show you that. You just squeeze that. And it lets the little hook that lets go. And then we can take the baby out. And the base would stay right in the car. And every time you need to use it, all you have to do is click, plug the baby in there, and you're good to go. So initially with this one, you are gonna have a little issue, it's gonna take a little work getting it in correctly. Okay, but once that base is in there, it is in there and make your life a whole lot easier. This car seat, it says used only as a rear facing for children who weigh between 4 and 30 pounds. So that is gonna be about 2 years, okay? So the longer you keep them rear facing, the better. It just protects the head and the neck, which is so weak on smaller babies. A lot of parents ask, well, what about when my child gets really tall and the feet are actually up on the seat, the back seat of the car? In an accident, aren't their legs gonna get crushed? And they might, but what we always say is you can cast a leg. You can't put a cast on a head or a neck. So it's the lesser of two evils. All right, with any car seat, first of all, you never ever want to use a used car seat unless you know the history of it. First of all, they're good for one big crash. Fender bender is not that big of a deal, but if the airbag is deployed, or obviously if the car is totaled, or someone gets hurt, that car seat needs to get pitched. Also, car seats get recalled all the time. So if you look on the back of the car seat and with your car seat, you probably want to take your baby out before you do this. But on here, it has the name of the car seat. It has when it was manufactured, May of 2014, and it says do not use after May 2020. They figure they expire after 6 years, and the reason for that is it's just plastic. So the plastic just gets brittle, especially when it sits in the car with the sun beating on it all the time. So you never use a used one. You make sure that it's not recalled, and you can look it up right online, or you can call me. I can check for you too. And don't use it after it's expired. So we saw what happened when the child is in the rear facing, and in this seat it was up to 30 pounds. You always go by the manufacturer's recommendations. Now it's time for that child to move up to the next level. What you need to do, your best bet, is to get a convertible car seat. And that means a seat that will go either forward or backwards. And that is this seat right here. With this one, again, it'll say everything on here. This one, it says in the forward facing position, 22 to 40 pounds. Okay. You can also use it rear facing if you wanted to, just like buy one. But then you have to worry about the angle again. You don't want that car seat tipped up like that. So to adjust for that, this car seat has this little, what I call a kickstand here, and it never goes in easy when I want it to. And that just folds right down. And then when you put the car seat in rear facing, you have that angle. Okay, it is right there. When you use it rear facing, the seatbelt or the latch would go through here. When it's forward facing, this comes down because now you want it at a 90-degree angle. And then either the latch or the seatbelt will go through here. All right, this seat is one of them that we use on our ambulance. We do not have a latch system on our ambulance, so we will use the seatbelt. It is just as safe. You use one or the other. You never use both. So we're gonna put this one in, and we're gonna put it in for a top. Okay, so we'll put it in here again. All right, and this time, since we don't have a latch system, we're gonna use the seatbelt. So remember, there's two paths to put it in. There's one down here, and there's one up here. I'm gonna put it in the higher one. And this one's pretty easy to do. You can just reach in there and get it through. And then reach over here and buckle it in. Now, with most vehicle seatbelts, they are set like seatbelts up front. The ones in the back are set exactly like the ones up front. You hit a bump, you slam on the brakes, it grabs. For a car seat, that is worthless. It has to be tight all the time. So you can actually switch it. So what you do is once you hook it, once you buckle it, you take the seatbelt and you pull it all the way out. And then when you let go of it, hear that little ratchet sound. And it's hard to hear it right now. But you want to hear that ratchet sound, that means it is now switched. It will stop wherever you stop. Okay, and lock. So if I stop right here, it's going to stop there. But now you still have to get it tight. So what you do is you push down on the seat and you reef on the seatbelt. And you can hear it again as I'm feeding it up. Okay, and again, this one's not tight enough yet, so we'll get it a little bit tighter. And there we go. It's in there good and tight. Now, to get the child in, you're not going to be able to, this seat stays in the car just like this, okay? So you put the child in, and we're back to the straps, just like the other one. Buckle it up. Buckle this up. This is called a retainer clip. And again, the retainer clip goes right at armpit level. In fact, this one even has a little picture on it. It shows you right where it goes. So you buckle it up tight, slide this to armpit level. Again, do the pinch test. Now another difference here is with the infant seat, the rear facing one, we had it so the straps went at or below the shoulders. Now you want them at or above, okay? On most car seats, in fact, all newer car seats, they have what's called a tether strap. Again, we don't have a tether anchor in our ambulances, so we don't use it. But what it does is it tethers this top part so it doesn't move that much. So what you do is if there's a headrest, you get that out of the way, and then the strap goes right underneath there. It comes right out of the top of the car seat, goes right over the top, and then we'll swing around to the back and I'll show you where it hooks in. If you look at the back of your car, you'll see these, okay? These are just for car seats. That's what that's for that tether lock. So you would put it through here. It's a hook. You just hook it on there and it stays, and then you have to tighten it, and you pull it tight. And what I always say, it's like a guitar string tight. You want it really, really tight. Okay, looking around in here, you see this. This is not for that tether. Okay, that's just a little cargo thing to keep stuff from sliding around. You can hook things into that. These are the actual tether anchors, and you can see there's one at each for each position. And again, if there is a headrest, it goes under the headrest. So now your child has outgrown the infant seat, the forward-facing seat. The next step is a booster seat, and that usually the range for that is usually 40 to 80 pounds. It depends what it says on the seat. You check every single seat, they're all different. Okay, so but the booster seat is very simple to use. What you do is you put it in the car. You don't have to buckle it into anything. Then at this age, the child is probably about 4 years old, they can climb right in. Then you just use the seat belt. That's all you do. The bottom belt goes under the little handle over here. The top belt goes up over here. And then when you bring it around, they both come down together. Okay, and then what you're worried about is you want to make sure that the seat belt goes over the shoulder. So on most booster seats, they actually have a little grabber up here, little guide, and you put the seatbelt through that guide, and you can see it goes right over the shoulder where it's supposed to go. It's called the shoulder belt, because that's where it's supposed to be. That child is now ready to go. You don't have to worry about locking it in or anything. The seatbelt will now work on this child just like it does for an adult. When you are done using this, when the child gets out, one thing that people don't think of with the booster seat, since it's not hooked into the car at all, you want to make sure that you buckle the seat back in. If you get in an accident and you slam on the brakes, if it's not, it can become a missile and hurt someone up in the front seat. Once the child has outgrown the booster seat, which is usually about 80 pounds, 4'9", the next step is to sit in the back seat buckled in correctly. They should stay in that back seat until they are 13 years old. You want them about adult size. And it is because of the airbag, the front airbag, there's a warning all over the place saying do not put a car seat up here, do not put a child up here. And the reason for that is that airbag can do some serious damage. Even the smart airbags, where they can kind of tell how much the person weighs and where they're sitting and things like that, they can still malfunction. They're just computer operated. We've all had computer issues. We know how that works. So the child should be in the back until they are 13. But from 8 to 13, that's another 5 years. What you do to make sure they can get out of that booster seat, and I'm going to be a 9-year-old, which is me on a pretty good day. I'm going to come out in here. What you want to do, the way to tell is, I always say it's crack to crack, knees bent. You slide your little hinder back till it's right in the crack of the seat. Their knees should bend where this seat goes down. Okay, if that's the way, if they fit that way, fantastic. Then they don't need to be in a booster seat anymore. And then obviously they have to buckle up. And buckle up. And again, you want to make sure that that belt goes over their shoulder. If it is up here, they're not ready. Even if everything else works, you still have to look where it is at seatbelt. And on some of them, you can adjust them, but it has to go over the shoulder. So what we just showed you, what we talked about today is kids and cars. again, if they're going to get hurt or killed, it is more than likely going to be in a car accident at that age. So make sure they are properly buckled in the correct seat, and even once they are out of a seat, make sure they are not sitting up front until they're at least 13 years old or about adult size. Even if they're, if they're 13 but they're really small, they still should be in the back. If you do have any questions, you can give me a call at 236-5249 and I can help you out, or email me. Be happy to help you out. Thanks for coming today. Hope you learned something, and stay safe.